Many men believe that the struggles they face with urination as they grow older are simply the unavoidable cost of aging. Waking up more than once at night to relieve yourself, waiting far too long for the stream to begin, or feeling like the bladder never empties fully may appear to be nothing more than natural signs of getting older. Yet these symptoms are often a message from your body, and in particular from your prostate. It is not merely time that brings about these frustrations. Very often, the habits carried out daily, the ones so common that you may hardly notice them, slowly create stress that leaves the prostate swollen and irritated. The important truth is that the prostate is sensitive. It sits directly beneath the bladder, wrapping around the urethra, and because of this position it reacts strongly to the way you treat your body. Small behaviors, repeated every day, build up in quiet ways. The discomfort and the urgency that seem to creep into life after 60 are not fated outcomes. They are the result of pressure, inflammation, and stagnation created by choices that feel harmless at the time. What many men do not realize is that improvement is possible. By understanding the connection between daily routines and prostate health, you can shift the course of your well-being. This is not about major overhauls or dramatic medical procedures. It is about listening to the signals your body sends, taking them seriously, and removing the constant sources of irritation that keep your urinary system under strain. Once you release that pressure, your body has the natural ability to recover balance. One of the most overlooked habits is the tendency to delay urination. Think of how many times you have been in the middle of a task, finishing a conversation, or driving home and you told yourself to hold it until later. It feels like nothing. Yet when the bladder is forced to store more than it should, the pressure builds downward onto the prostate itself. Imagine pushing on a sponge that is already tender. Over time, the tissue thickens, becomes less flexible, and swelling begins to set in. The bladder in turn struggles, its muscles working harder to push through a narrow passage. What began as a casual delay turns into a pattern of obstruction. This habit does not show its damage immediately, which is why so many men ignore it. The trouble builds quietly, until the bladder grows weaker, the nights become restless, and the discomfort cannot be brushed aside. But the body is ready to heal once the pressure is removed. By responding to the first signal of needing to urinate rather than waiting until it becomes urgent, you give relief to the bladder and freedom to the prostate. Think of it as honoring the rhythm of your body. When the bladder speaks, respond. By making this one change, you not only ease immediate discomfort, but also protect the structure of the entire urinary system from long-term strain. Small adjustments practiced consistently often create the largest impact over time. This is the beginning of a shift in perspective. The challenges you may face are not punishments for age. They are reminders to live with awareness of the connection between action and health. By identifying habits that harm and replacing them with choices that support healing, men can experience less urgency, more restful nights, and renewed ease in everyday life. Another habit that many men ignore is constipation. At first glance, it may not appear to have any connection to the prostate, but the relationship is stronger than most people realize. When the bowels are full and stool remains compacted inside, the pressure extends directly toward the prostate from behind. This is not a quick or occasional pressure. It is constant, like having a heavy object pressing on delicate tissue throughout the day. That pressure restricts circulation, irritates nerves, and creates an environment where inflammation can take root and persist. The body is an interconnected system, and when one part is under stress, other areas feel the effect. Chronic constipation is not only a problem for digestion. It spreads its discomfort to the urinary system as well. Inflammation does not remain contained in the intestines. It moves outward, affecting the surrounding structures, including the prostate. For many men, this quiet inflammation is one of the underlying forces that drive the gradual swelling of the prostate, eventually leading to symptoms that interfere with daily life. Constipation also disrupts the internal balance of bacteria in the digestive tract. When stool sits too long, the natural ecosystem inside the gut shifts in unhealthy ways. This imbalance triggers low-grade inflammation throughout the body. The immune system reacts as though there is a constant irritation to fight, and the prostate becomes one of the organs influenced by this process. What feels like a minor inconvenience in the bathroom can slowly create significant strain in other areas, showing how closely tied gut health is to prostate health. Diet plays a central role in this cycle. Many modern eating habits encourage constipation without men realizing it. A menu filled with refined carbohydrates, processed foods, red meat, and cheese, but lacking in fiber and hydration, dries out stool and slows movement through the intestines. Even men who consider themselves healthy may fall into this pattern simply out of habit or convenience. Over time, these choices become part of the foundation that leads to swelling, urgency, and discomfort in the urinary system. Breaking this cycle does not require extreme changes. It requires gradual and steady attention to nourishment. Fiber-rich foods such as cooked vegetables, fruits like pears and prunes, or simple additions like chia seeds and ground flax seeds can help restore smooth and natural bowel movements. Drinking sufficient water throughout the day adds to this effect, softening the stool and helping the intestines perform their work more efficiently. These small changes may feel minor, but they create a noticeable difference in internal pressure and overall comfort. When the bowels move regularly and easily, the prostate finally experiences relief. Without the constant strain pressing against it, the tissue can settle, circulation improves, and irritation decreases. This is not an overnight transformation, but it is a steady path toward better health. The prostate does not need to live under the weight of digestive imbalance. Instead, it can benefit directly from the rhythm of a well-functioning gut. The key is consistency. Occasional improvements do not erase years of stress, but building a new daily rhythm allows the body to restore its balance over time. With every meal chosen with intention and every glass of water added to the day, the body receives the support it has been asking for. The outcome is a lighter, calmer, more comfortable experience that extends far beyond digestion itself. What begins as a dietary choice becomes a direct investment in prostate health. By respecting the link between the bowels and the urinary system, men reclaim not only comfort but also confidence. There is empowerment in knowing that the habits you create at the table can transform the way your body feels in every other aspect of life. There is another habit that quietly shapes the well-being of the prostate, and it is one that modern life encourages more than ever. It is the habit of sitting for long periods without meaningful movement. At first, sitting may seem harmless, even restful. After all, it is a natural part of reading, working, driving, or enjoying time in front of a screen. Yet when hours pass in stillness, the pelvic region, where the prostate lives, experiences more than comfort. It faces stagnation, reduced circulation, and a lack of vitality that gradually contributes to swelling and discomfort. The pelvic area is designed for subtle and continuous motion. Walking, stretching, or even gentle standing keeps blood flowing and ensures that oxygen and nutrients are delivered where they are needed. When movement is absent, that natural flow slows down. Blood moves sluggishly, lymph drainage weakens, and the removal of toxins becomes inefficient. The result is that byproducts of metabolism and inflammation gather in the very space where the prostate sits, irritating and stressing the tissue over time. The prostate is a delicate gland, soft in its natural state, and dependent on healthy circulation. When seated for long stretches, the lower body compresses, circulation slows, and the prostate is forced to cope with less nourishment and more waste accumulation. Just as a sponge becomes stiff when left unused, the prostate stiffens when it is deprived of motion and flexibility. This quiet process often continues unnoticed until symptoms appear in the form of urgency, weak flow, or interrupted sleep. The danger of this habit lies in how subtle it is. Men may believe they are giving themselves rest by sitting, unaware of the strain it places on the pelvic organs. Unlike dramatic injuries or sudden illnesses, this problem develops silently. Months and years of sedentary behavior slowly shape the tissue, making enlargement more likely. The true cost is not visible until discomfort becomes unavoidable, and by then it can feel as though the problem has arrived without warning. The solution does not require intense exercise or major disruptions to daily routine. What it calls for is what some experts describe as movement snacks. These are small, deliberate bursts of motion woven throughout the day. Standing up every half hour, walking across the room, stretching the lower back, or gently swinging the legs for a few breaths may sound modest, but such practices wake the circulation and restore life to the pelvic region. These little acts of care signal to the prostate that it is still part of a body in motion. Think of it as keeping the sponge soft and nourished. Every squeeze, every stretch, every step allows nutrients to flow in and waste to flow out. Without these moments of renewal, tissue hardens, tension builds, and inflammation becomes the constant companion of the prostate. With them, vitality is preserved, and the body feels lighter, more balanced, and more resilient. This perspective shifts the idea of movement from being only about fitness to being about core health. It is not necessary to jog miles or lift heavy weights in order to create change. It is enough to remain aware of the need for circulation and to provide the body with frequent reminders that it is designed for motion. Even a few mindful minutes each hour can transform the way the prostate feels and functions. In the end, sitting for too long is not a harmless habit. It is a choice that shapes the hidden rhythms of the body. By adding deliberate movement into each day, men reclaim control over their health. They give their prostate the gift of circulation, the relief of balance, and the freedom from silent strain. This is not a grand effort, but it is a meaningful one, and it pays back with years of improved comfort and vitality. When you look at these three habits together, delaying urination, ignoring constipation, and sitting for long hours, a clear pattern begins to emerge. Each one may seem harmless in isolation, but when repeated over months and years they quietly place constant stress on the prostate. They create pressure from above, pressure from behind, and stagnation from within. The gland that should remain soft, flexible, and well-nourished is instead forced to endure strain, swelling, and irritation. The result is not only discomfort but also the gradual loss of confidence in your own body. What is powerful to realize is that none of these habits are permanent. They are not fixed features of aging. They are choices that can be changed with awareness and consistency. The prostate does not enlarge overnight. It responds to repeated conditions, adapting in ways that are not always healthy. That also means that by altering those conditions, you give the gland the opportunity to adapt in a healthier direction. Tissue that has been stressed can begin to relax. Inflammation that has been fed by poor circulation or constant pressure can gradually diminish. Many men believe they are powerless once the symptoms appear, but this belief is one of the greatest obstacles to healing. The truth is that the body remains capable of improvement even in the later decades of life. Relief does not require complicated routines or extreme sacrifices. It requires attention to the everyday choices that shape the body's environment. By choosing to respond when the bladder calls, by choosing foods that soften and balance the bowels, and by choosing to rise and move regularly, men create conditions where the prostate can recover its rhythm. This process is not instant, but it is steady. Just as the habits that harm the prostate accumulate over years, the habits that heal it build their effect with time. Each day you practice them is like removing a stone from a heavy burden. With enough days, the weight becomes lighter, the pressure eases, and the nights are less disturbed. Improvement does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers in the form of fewer awakenings, easier flow, or simply greater peace of mind knowing that you are taking care of your health. It is also worth noting that these adjustments influence more than the prostate. Better bowel habits improve digestion and energy. More frequent movement strengthens circulation throughout the entire body, lowering the risk of other conditions that come with age. Responding to the bladder promptly teaches mindfulness and reduces tension in everyday life. In other words, the prostate benefits are just one part of a larger wave of wellness that flows through the body when you treat it with consistent respect. Think of these habits as a foundation. They are not dramatic medical interventions. They are daily decisions that shape the internal environment where health either thrives or struggles. When the foundation is strong, everything built upon it has greater stability. The body, the mind, and the spirit all gain from the relief that comes when strain is lifted from such a central part of the body. This understanding transforms fear into empowerment. Instead of feeling at the mercy of age, men can recognize that they have influence over their comfort and vitality. The future does not need to be filled with frustration, urgency, or sleepless nights. It can be filled with steady energy, reliable function, and confidence that grows with each day of mindful practice. The prostate, like every organ, responds to the way you live. Ultimately, the message is simple but profound. The smallest habits often have the largest consequences. By reshaping these habits with care, men can experience not only relief but renewal. The body is not working against you. It is waiting for you to remove the burdens that weigh it down so that it can return to balance. With patience and attention, that balance is well within reach. The path forward is not about radical change or overwhelming effort. It is about awareness, consistency, and respect for the signals of your body. Every man has the ability to make these adjustments, no matter his age. The prostate responds when the environment shifts, and that response can be healing when you reduce the pressures that irritate it. What feels like a heavy burden of discomfort can begin to lighten with even the simplest of daily choices. The first step is to recognize that you are not powerless. Many men carry the belief that once symptoms appear, nothing can be done except to tolerate them or rely on medication. While medical support may be necessary in certain cases, the foundation of improvement is built in everyday life. Each time you choose to empty your bladder promptly, you are giving relief to your urinary system. Each time you add a serving of fiber or a glass of water, you are reducing pressure on your prostate. Each time you stand, stretch, and allow circulation to flow again, you are creating the conditions for healing. These actions may seem small, but their power lies in repetition. The body does not require dramatic gestures, it requires steady care. Just as years of neglect can create dysfunction, years of mindful practice can restore balance. The prostate is not an enemy working against you. It is a sensitive organ asking for respect and attention. When you honor it, it rewards you with greater comfort, stronger flow, and more peaceful nights. Consider also the ripple effect of these changes. Improved urinary health leads to deeper sleep, and deeper sleep strengthens energy and mood. Better bowel function reduces inflammation, which benefits not only the prostate but also the heart, joints, and immune system. More frequent movement strengthens circulation, supporting not only the pelvis but also the brain and muscles. By caring for one gland, you improve the well-being of the entire body. The investment pays back in every direction. It is natural to feel frustration when symptoms have already disrupted your life. Yet frustration does not need to define the future. What defines the future is the response you choose. You can decide to let old habits continue, or you can decide to build new ones that align with the health you desire. The power rests in daily choices, and that power is available to you right now. Even men in their 70s and 80s can benefit from these adjustments. Age does not close the door to improvement. The body remains capable of adapting, healing, and renewing when given the chance. The key is to provide that chance through consistent care. This truth should bring encouragement rather than fear. You are not trapped by your symptoms. You are supported by a body that wants to recover. The journey toward better prostate health is less about fighting and more about cooperating. It is about creating an environment where the body can do what it was designed to do. By listening to its messages, responding with care, and practicing small habits every day, you open the way to relief and renewal. The smallest decisions, when repeated with intention, carry the power to transform your comfort and your confidence. Your health is not behind you, it is here, waiting for you to take action. The best years are not lost, they can still be lived with energy, clarity, and ease. The prostate does not have to control your life. With consistent care and mindful habits, you can reclaim that control and experience the strength and comfort you deserve.